Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the 𝐿 Lounge podcast. I'm your host, Denham Cruz, and for today's episode, we have Dr. Dhananjay Kulkarni, the Dean of Academics of Monash, Sri Lanka. Doctor, how are you doing this morning, Doctor?
I'm good. Thank you for inviting me to 𝐿 Lounge. Very excited to be here.
It's a pleasure, Doctor. Doctor, could you share a bit about your background in your academic journey and how you have come to this level?
That's a very long journey, Denham, but I'll try to tell you briefly without revealing my age. So basically, you can probably guess from my accent, I'm not originally from here. I started my education way back in a beautiful city called Pune, which is like Colombo, a historic city. And I did my secondary and higher education in Pune at a really good school. And I started my undergraduate in the city of Pune as well, which is in India. And I would say the real reason I got into this particular field, which is computer science and engineering, is starting from just after, I would say, when you finish your secondary or higher, because of developing an interest in computing and engineering fields. And like in Sri Lanka, equivalent to A level, there is what is called HSC, Higher Secondary Certificate. So upon completion of that, you start your university programs. Luckily, I was able to get into a engineering college and study at what is called Maharashtra Institute of Technology, which is one of the well-known engineering universities in my city. And I completed 4 years there. As you know, all engineering programs are 4 years. And around that time, the industry was booming. IT, engineering, technology. So as it happens in Sri Lanka, the companies come and try to recruit you. I found a job as well. But around the same time, there was a big wave of people leaving and studying in the US, because the US is a great place to study any STEM program. So I decided to apply, and I think I applied to about 10 universities. I was lucky enough to get into a few. I had told my parents that without a scholarship, I'm not going anywhere, because it's very expensive, and now it is more expensive. And luckily, I got a scholarship into the Colorado State University, which is in the city of Fort Collins. And I spent a year there, and that's for a master's program, so undergraduate and then master's. And while I was studying there in the first year, I was working under Professor Walid Najjar, who is from Lebanon, and conducting some research in my field. To my luck, or bad luck, whatever you want to call it, I think it was luck, he decided to move. Now, in America, when you are working under a professor and he moves, it can prolong your duration of study because you have already spent a lot of time with him. So he was kind enough and said, if he moves, will I move with him? He was moving from a beautiful city of Colorado, which is full of mountains, snow, a lot of biking, outdoor activities, to a beach city in California, very close to Los Angeles, in a city called Riverside. I took a week because obviously you can't make decisions like this. I didn't know what future holds. I had only one condition for him: if he were to sponsor me, like I was fully sponsored at Colorado State University, I will join him. He said, you don't have to worry about it. If you were to join me and help me set up my research lab in the University of California, Riverside, you can study as much as you want, and I will take care of you. So I went and helped him set up his career. And in the process, I finished my master's and my PhD in the field of computer science and engineering. And then, like all students, after they finish their studies, have to start looking for a job. I think that is the hardest part, because while you're a student, you're enjoying college life, may it be doing your undergrad, master's, PhD, doesn't matter. And that's where the reality struck, that it's not that easy to find the job which you really like. So frankly, I applied for hundreds of jobs. All were in the field of academia, because during my study, I had spent about 6 months exploring the industry, doing an internship. It was not for me. For some reason, I didn't feel excited about it. Academia was where you meet new people every day. It's a very, I think, exciting profession to transform minds and create leaders for tomorrow or in the industry, and research on exciting stuff. So I narrowed down on being an academic field. And as I said, I applied for hundreds of jobs. I didn't get many. But then I said, this one last month, I'm going to still try. This is way back in 2006, I think. And luckily, I got a couple of interviews in a city called Boston, which is on the east coast of America. And I interviewed for all of them. I think sometimes the stars and planets line up properly for you. And I got 2 jobs in the same city. One was as a professor, which is an assistant professor position when you just start. And another one was a research scientist position, which is an hour away. Now, I think you must have heard this saying, you should take the opportunity of a lifetime during the lifetime of the opportunity. Correct? So I followed that, you can say, mantra, and I took both jobs. And it's difficult to manage both jobs. I was just married as well. And I spent 4 years in Boston. And I did 1 year of what is called the postdoc during that time as well. And that's how I'm in academia. I was assistant professor at Boston University for 4 years. And we had our first son there. Now we have a daughter as well. And my wife and I decided to make a move to Sri Lanka. And in Sri Lanka as well, I'm in the field of academia. I worked at another university leading a computing department. And as you must have heard, 𝐻𝐿 Lanka Private Limited was just being set up around 2015. And under that, there are 2 subsidiaries. One is, of course, Universal College Lanka, which is the education arm. And then you have 𝐻𝐿 Pathways, which is our transfer agency, the sister company. And since then, I've been here. So it's an exciting 8 years journey. I think that's in a nutshell how my academic journey has progressed, you can say, but it's going well.
So, as someone who specialized in the field of computer science and engineering, what do you think are the key skills and sort of attributes that someone should develop in order to excel in this field?
Sure. Now, Denham, first of all, STEM is a very exciting field. There might be some fields which have come and gone, but STEM, basically, as you know, it stands for science, technology, engineering, and maths. And it's never going to go away. I would say, of course, you have to be good in a few subjects. That builds you the confidence. Obviously, you can be good in science if you want to pursue a career in science, or IT if you want to be in technology, or maths if you want to be an engineer. But that's not everything. I would say before that, there are certain attributes which you should consider in order to pursue a study or a career in STEM. And I would say that would be curiosity, a passion, and a real love for doing something which might have a lot of failures in it. And ultimately, it leads to success. The reason for that is, if you look at engineers or technology leaders, they have been very curious people. Because if you don't have the curiosity, you will never explore beyond what you see, right? So technology is a very fast-changing field. If you're not curious, you will basically remain in a particular room and be in that shell. You have to have a passion, because every year technology changes. So if you're not passionate about learning new things, being current rather than using old technology, sometimes you might feel quickly outdated. So science, technology is, I think, a very important characteristic for any young students for that is that. And I think a lot of youngsters are very internet savvy, know a lot of devices, how they are used much better than their parents or grandparents. And finally, it comes down to while you are in school, of course, there's an exam and you have to, appear for exam, get a grade and all that. But if somebody is really wanting to make, as you said, excel in a field, don't only look at the grades, because grades, I think, are only one reflection of what you do and spend your time throughout the day. There are other things which are related to the subject, which help you retain and apply that knowledge. So for example, if you are studying a particular subject, okay, you want to get the grade, that's fine. But while you are studying, you should be able to see how that works in reality. Why a particular thing works and doesn't work, how to make it better. Now, that particular approach of learning is extremely important in the STEM field. So I think that's what I said. You should not like something, you should actually love something. And then only you will be able to really excel. Of course, you can choose a career and get a degree in STEM, but to excel, you need to have a real passion for it.
So, could you share a few of your memorable moments or experiences that you have encountered in this field of STEM?
Yeah, definitely. There are lots of memorable moments. So I'll try to pick a few. Maybe I'll pick a memorable moment when I was in my undergraduate study. So as you know, it's a 4-year degree. And in the final year, you need to do a big project. It has to be something which works. It has to be applicable to the real world. And I think it's not that easy. And generally people struggle in that particular kind of phase. So two of my friends and I, although we didn't know each other, we were talking one day over a coffee. And then we were thinking, what should we do? And we came up with some idea. And slowly, as we were discussing, we thought, let's do it. Now, the problem with this project was that we cannot do it at home because we had very basic computers at that time. And we didn't have access to what we wanted to do at home or in the university. So we approached a company. It's one of the big companies in our city. And we said, can we do this project at your place? Now, the companies are very curious, but at the same time, they want to be careful because I was much younger, just in my early 20s, 20, I think. And they said, we'll make you work in our premises on one condition, which is you cannot work in the daytime. Now, because they had, it was IT industry was booming, the offices were full, they didn't have any space, they didn't have spare computers. They said the only way you can do this project is if you spend the whole night here. Now, it's an exciting proposition because we get to stay away from our homes, but it is also very difficult because we had full day of school and we had to do this. But the three of us who were in part of that project, we said, okay, let's give it a shot. We chose the 3 months where we are going to rough it out. There was no social life. I think our health deteriorated. And basically, we vanished from any activity which happened at school or in our social circle. But what resulted in that was every day for the 3 months, we basically had a very good discipline. We did our college studies and then we took a break, ate plenty and went to this company. Now, you have to imagine this company is a very professional company with a lot of IT professionals working and these youngsters walking in. So when they were leaving, we were entering, right? And we spent the whole night. Only when the sun rose, we went back home for 3 continuous months. But the result was amazing. We did a very exciting project, which was a popular field at that time. And it led to being the best project in the university. And we sent it to other inter-university competitions and won several prizes and all that stuff. But when you really look back, I think that was a changing, I would say, a defining moment why certain things happen in your life. And I would say that is when my family or my siblings and friends encouraged that I think this is a field for you. Because as an individual, you always feel, I want to be a pilot. I want to be a sports star. But actually, there are strengths in you which others notice. So once I think that phase was over, I made a decision that this is going to be my major area. Within that, always there will be a few things here and there. And one thing leads to another. As I said, I wanted to choose one example from each phase. So that is what is a good memory for me related to, I would say, my academic journey, what happened in college. Then I would say a good memory for me, what happened in the US, where I spent about 10 to 11 years, was there will always be ups and downs. One of the learning lessons which I would like to share is what you should not be doing. Okay, so there are various reasons why somebody chooses a career or a particular company to work. One of the things I did, as I said earlier, was I did an internship for, I think, 4 months while I was doing my master's and PhD. Now, the reason for me to do that was to see whether I really fit in industry. I really loved the work I did there. I got paid a lot. I was near a beach. I enjoyed the city. But at the end of the day, when I came back, I felt that there is not a long-term impact I'm making to the field. And that's when I said that I think my internship is over. I went back to my professor and said that I want to pursue these projects and complete my PhD, because that takes longer than others to buy your first car because you're still in school for a longer period. But that is all worth it, because then you really do what you are passionate about. So I would say that would be another defining moment or a good example for me to share. And finally, as you know, I spent about now 13 years in Sri Lanka. I think I have the most exciting as well as the challenging job, I think, at work. But I get to meet a cross section of people. Every day is a new memory. But I would say one of the most memorable things, and I think as a company we can be proud of, is to take a risk and believe in things you do as a team to see how you can achieve your goals. You're still very young, but soon you'll get there. It's not easy to start a company. So I have been a founding kind of part of the founding team for Universal College Lanka, along with the CEO of 𝐻𝐸DCO Pathways, Ms. Nishani De Silva. I think we are pretty much the only people left from the founding team. But 8 years down, I can say that if you are committed to your work, if you meet people who have the same kind of values, you can really build a good place to work. So I think there are so many memories in the early stage of how these educational institutes get formed. And those are what I look back when there are good days and bad days, because that is how a company should grow.
So now, how has the landscape of computer science and engineering evolved since you started on from your career, your early career, and to what
I
it is
think
now?
it has changed a lot. Well, the simple answer is that technology changes, computer science, engineering, I think at a very fast rate. Every year there is something new. When I touched the computer for the first time, I think I was probably 14 years old. But every 5 years, if you really ask somebody, when did you first use a computer? I think that 14 became 12, 10, 8. And as we all know, 4 years back when COVID hit, even 3-year-olds
Yes,
were on the
exactly.
laptop or the tab because their teacher was teaching on Zoom. So technology evolves very fast, and the age at which you are going to be introduced to technology is only going to keep getting lower and lower. I think kids who are even probably 2 years old will be using some kind of technology these days. Of course, most of them are either looking at something on the tab or on the phone. But having said that, the real technology is very fascinating, how it evolves. To give you a very simple example, I would say not more than 10 to 15 years back even, or let's say 20 years back, when people wanted to read something, you had to get a membership in the public library. Maybe there's a wait time. And when you actually get that membership, you have to go and get that book, hopefully, which is available, and then bring it home and read it and return it, let's say, within 2 days. Okay, you fast forward another 10 years, came internet. You can search for information. There's so much data out there. Thousands of pages are added every day, or every second actually. There's Wikipedia, and there is a lot of free information which you can read, which are equally good. Then you fast forward another 10 years, came PDF versions of books, which can be either read on your computer, or nowadays you can also download it on your phone. Now you can just imagine the whole library, which was taking a huge building, maybe in your school or in the city, is at your fingertips. But that is just one aspect of it. You must probably be reading more than me about what's technology helping at every phase of student or in their careers. And the classic example is, I would say, ChatGPT, which is basically using AI in order to generate text. So general predictive transformer, as it's called. Now, of course, people are very, very scared how this will affect humans. But one thing is for sure, that artificial intelligence cannot overtake human intelligence, because we have to all remember that we are the ones who built it. Having said that, how much will be affected by that is up to us. I recently was speaking at a forum, and the same topic came up. So the example I used was a calculator. When calculator was introduced maybe about, let's say 50 to 60 years back at universities for use, even major universities like Harvard, MIT, tried to ban it. A calculator, a simple calculator, saying that that will not help you develop the skills required to calculate something. But as you know, without a calculator, I don't think the current technologies which we see would have come, because the scientists and the students need that calculator to do quick calculations and move on to the next experiment. I think the same is going to happen to ChatGPT. Soon there will be ways in which at your fingertips you will be able to access AI-powered technology. And we have to all remember that this is all to make our lives better. So I think the evolution of technology, as you mentioned, is very rapid, unlike other fields, which makes the STEM field a very exciting field, because as we all know, when we keep doing the same thing for a long period of time, we can get bored. So in a STEM field, nothing is boring.
What advice would you give for someone who's just starting off their career, or let's say their education in the field of STEM?
Well, as I said before, STEM is a very exciting field. But at the same time, we have to be careful that STEM is not the only field. So the first thing is, don't force yourself into that field just because your brother or your friend or your parent or any uncle or aunt is saying that you should pursue that. You should remember that STEM is a very exciting field, though, which has plenty of jobs. In fact, it was one of the only fields, I would say, and a whole lot of jobs come under STEM, which were not affected during the time of crisis, including in Sri Lanka and around the world. In fact, post-COVID, after 2019, the STEM field has actually exploded. And there are many other branches under STEM which have come up. May it be data science, maybe it is advances in biotechnology, maybe it is applied fields in AI which are helping other fields. So there's plenty out there which you can do in STEM. The second thing under STEM is, it is also, I would say, one of the most lucrative jobs compared to few others, with all due respect. That is because the STEM industry is growing and making a lot of profits. So that trickles down to paying higher for people who work on those companies. So if youngsters really want to get into a field to make more money, travel, because most of the STEM companies are also multinational companies. So you would get a posting abroad, or if you want to study STEM, which not only in Sri Lanka but abroad has many other degree programs, including undergraduate, masters, and PhD level. So that is where I think somebody should really think whether STEM is for them. As I said earlier, sometimes an individual thinks that this is what they should do. But it is a good moment, especially students who are doing their O-levels, A-levels, and just embarking on the journey to spend some time and reflect what you are really good at. So if there are red flags saying that, STEM is not for you, then I think you should be careful. Or develop the skills needed in the 1 or 2 more years that you'll be still in school, so that you become confident enough to pursue a field in STEM. Thirdly, don't forget the feedback from your friends, family, and I would say your close friends, because they give you honest advice. Some people may not give the honest advice for whatever the reason, but your closest people will give you that honest advice saying what you are good and maybe you are not so good at. And you have to build those skills to pursue a career in STEM. There are a whole lot of other fields as well. STEM is not the only thing. If you want to be a superstar in sports, nowadays actually sports earns more money than maybe any other field, but of course you have to be very good at it. Or it could be music, or it could be arts, or it could be a planet-saving idea. It can all be applied to STEM as well, because everything is at the moment in some way connected to the STEM field. Even if you take agriculture or medicine or tourism, everybody is using computing and technology in some way to make their processes better, improve their profitability, improve the number of clients they get, or improve customer service. So I would say computing in general, but STEM has so many opportunities which I think youngsters should really consider. But look at other fields as well.
So before we conclude, would you like to share any lesson that you have learned in the past that might inspire the younger generation?
Yeah, in the short time we have, I'm trying to see what lessons I can share with the audience who is listening. Well, I think one important lesson is to never give up, because failure is something which is a given. Nobody can win at everything. Even if you ask the number 1 ranked player in any sport, right? The only reason they have been able to get there is they have lost many matches early on in their careers, maybe when they were not professional yet. If you take any successful businessman, including Jack Ma or Jeff Bezos or Elon Musk, they have failed at many things. But the learning lesson from it is that when you fail, you need to learn from that failure and not repeat the same failure again. So most of the successful people who are, let's say, millionaires or successful businessmen early in their careers, I would say they have failed at a very rapid rate and learned from it and then avoided those mistakes. But it's not a race. Some people can have a successful career maybe at 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 even. We have many examples who have started a business at 70 and still become successful. So I would say that is a less talked about point, which is about failures. And I really feel, being in the education industry, parents, teachers, even students are very hard on themselves when you don't achieve something which you really wanted to achieve. But everybody has to consider failure as an opportunity to improve, and then move on. And it's a given that you'll always be better the next time. Now, to the young folks listening, I'm not saying fail your subjects, but you might fail maybe when a homework question was given and you didn't get it right. So the best way to do that is go to your teacher and ask her why I got it wrong. And so you don't fail the exam. That's what I meant. Secondly, I think you should really have a passion to do something worthwhile. So you can either study and then start a job. But when you're doing a job, I think most of the listeners, if they're youngsters, they have a few more years to go. But those who are already working need to remember this, and this is from my experience. You need to either earn a lot of money or you need to learn a lot. Okay? So earn or learn. If you are doing none of those in the current job you are doing, I think you're in the wrong job. Am I right? Yes. So if you are learning a lot, not earning, that's fine. For example, there can be internships which are non-paid, but they will teach you so much that the next year you'll probably get the best job compared to your friends. And of course, there are jobs which just earn a lot for you. Now, if you are earning a lot without doing much, it's fine, good for you. But if you're not learning much, but still earning a lot, you can use that money, definitely save a lot of that, and you can start your own companies and give jobs to other people. So I think those are the few lessons I would like to share. But if parents are listening in, I think this is a good message for me, being a parent myself, is to also realize that all students or every child is different. So we need to stop comparing, may it be in the STEM field or a sports or a music, doesn't matter. Every child, especially as youngsters, once you become teenagers, you have passions and dreams and goals. Everybody grows at a different rate, okay? Much like a tree which is planted in a garden. But every tree grows. If you water it properly, if you take care of it, there might be good and bad weather. But as long as it's given the necessary time, the space, it will grow. It will have branches, it will have a strong stem and have the roots which can weather any storm. Let's just say that. So if adults are listening in, I think that's a very important lesson. Everybody needs that a little bit of time to be their best. So for youngsters listening in, I would say don't slack. If you're good at something, give your best effort, because what I think personally is that if you're not putting your best effort in whatever that might be, may be academics, sports, or any other thing which you do throughout the day, if you're not giving your best, actually it's a missed opportunity, because you could definitely done better. Yeah. So give your best. If you fail, learn from it and move forward. If you do your best and win, it's like good for you.
So that brings us to the end of today's 𝐸𝐸𝐶 Lounge podcast, and I would like to thank Dr. Dhananjay Kulkarni for being a part of this, even taking time off his busy schedule to be present here with us today. And that is it, ladies and gentlemen, for this podcast. Have a nice day.